We're talking about the arrest of the CNN crew, which is unbelievable. Here they are, allowing people to burn police stations to the ground. They do nothing except evacuate the building so that they can do that. Here they are allowing people to completely destroy a Target superstore, take items out of it, steal all the electronics you want. They do nothing. But a CNN crew that is standing there doing a report, they arrest them during the report. What is the matter with the Minneapolis Police Department? There's something wrong there.
He identifies them as state police, too.
Oh, state police, okay.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's just bizarre.
These guys have just been through a long night of fighting a ridiculous situation.
Yeah.
And there's lots of excuses as to why you would not be a very joyful person at that moment. But that does not excuse arresting people,
they've mostly been
obviously.
bystanders, and
yeah.
They've mostly been watching what's been happening. They haven't really been, cracking heads or anything, right?
And it seems like there was I guess you'd call it a political decision made at some point, at some higher level, to just let this happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. But you can't let the CNN report happen.
No, you can't let that happen.
Now you've gone too far.
Unbelievable. They burned down, Target, all of these places, and they let them go in there and take all this stuff out. This got nothing to do with the memory of this person who's murdered by everyone's estimation. We've taken this situation where we all agreed on something finally, and literally lit it on fire within 48 hours. You've got people on television justifying the looting because, of course, they're upset. That's why they're taking these TVs. That is not
one does not lead to the other.
It's not a rational reaction.
No, I'm sorry.
And it's honestly there's definitely a tinge of racism in that analysis. It's we have to accept it because this community is going to do that because they're upset. It's they're not holding African American communities to the same standard as white communities or any other community because they act as if they are not able to control themselves,
which is racist. Obviously,
I mean, look at the mom of George Floyd. She clearly was absolutely saying, "Don't do this." 90%, 99% of that community is at home, terrified for their lives in the middle of this. You got a couple thousand people out there lighting everything on fire, and idiot white people going on television trying to justify it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It really is.
You see the Cardi B tweet yesterday?
I definitely did not. With 100% certitude.
Well, of course, I'm a huge follower and fan of Cardi B.
You go to all her concerts,
all of her CDs.
Yeah, you have it all.
It's so good. And then she tweets this out, which I think is brilliant. Here's what she said. The people are left with no choice but to riot, but to loot. She says, they looting in Minnesota, and as much as I don't like this type of violence, it is what it is. Well, that's powerful. Thank you, Cardi. That's powerful. That is really deep, and
a lot of
and
this,
you can't argue with it.
There's a lot of this justification, man.
There is
a lot of it going on, and you can be a person who thinks what happened to George Floyd is absolutely unconscionable. I mean, none of us can understand how it happened.
Right.
That does not mean you go get a free Xbox. Those two things just don't go together.
No, they do not.
One does not cause the other. It is, of course, it isn't it is what it is. No, you can just not.
No.
And of course, lots of people in the community didn't do that. They're not going to get any hype because they're the ones hiding in their homes, right? As they're watching the place they go to buy formula for their child burned to the ground. What a win this one is. Hey, they burnt down a brand new, under construction, affordable housing project.
Yeah.
Could this community have
$30 million had been spent on this thing already?
Now down the tubes.
It was going to house 190 families. It's gone now. It's gone. Okay, what sense did that make? Was that a good move?
No, these are not sensible moves, and they're not done by people who give a crap about George Floyd.
No,
No one who is out there setting Target on fire has any connection to the cause, to the movement, to anything other than selfish nonsense. That is not how you react, and it's certainly going to do nothing but hurt. I don't know if we mentioned this on this show yesterday, but if I was to say right now, hey, you know what? I'm opening up I actually just got a nice little condo in Watts. Immediately, every single person in their head would say, oh my gosh, the riots place. It was 55 years ago, and you still think of it as the riots place.
Right.
It destroys your community for decades to come.
What do you think of when you think of Ferguson?
Yeah.
Rioting.
Now, is Ferguson better than it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago in the middle of riots? I'm sure it is at some
Probably,
level.
yeah.
But is that the impression that the average American would get?
I don't think so.
No,
we all remember.
Yeah.
I mean, look when bad things happen in a place, even if it's not rioting. I mean, what do you think of when you think of Waco, Texas?
Yeah.
Now you might think of Chip and Joanna.
It took a long time to get there.
But up until them, you thought of
David
the
Koresh.
David Koresh situation.
Yep, totally. And it wasn't even in Waco, by the way, which is the craziest thing. It's like, well, watching those reports back, because I was watching that series on Netflix recently with Waco. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And they're showing the news reports and like 14 miles outside of Waco. I'm like, 14 miles? Like, we've been calling it this Waco this entire time. It was 14 miles outside of town?